Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are live. We'd like to thank the Facebook crew for showing up, and Spotify, and iHeartRadio, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Pandora, Amazon Music, Twitter, and our friends over, everybody tuning in YouTube, and of course the NSC Roadshow. So we want to thank everybody on the NSC Roadshow. We tour around creators and titans of industry and all that to go ahead and bring everybody together and kind of, we all feel that, all ships rise together, right? So we try to round up a bunch of people, get the word out for them, talk about what all's going on and what's new and cool and awesome in the world of comics. And so make sure you tune in to all the different podcasters on the NSC Roadshow. All you got to do is go to nscroadshow.com. And if you are a podcaster, you want to kind of sign up with the group, go ahead and let us know. We can go ahead and start getting some creators your way. So again, just look for this webpage right here. It's nscroadshow.com. Sign right up. And the partners that are bringing you this show tonight are our sponsors over at Inked Marketing, which has now become Ink Studios. So that's been the big change for 2022. So come check out everything at inkmarketing.com. Check out everything that the studio has to offer now with all the extra added benefits, which is the home of, for 2021, of 50 campaigns, man. We had 50 campaigns run through. It was pretty awesome. We tipped off the year at 54. Just finished off 55, and we're on the road. The new milestone is 75, so we're all heading out that direction fast and furious. Next up, make sure you check out what's coming out with Voodoo Comics. That's the other one that's coming hard and heavy. There's 6 titles fixing to come out for Voodoo, so make sure you keep a lookout for that. Our other sponsor is Amerikaiju, and you'll hear a little bit more about them tonight, and you'll see one of the cool figures that they've designed for their campaign. And last but not least is a sponsorship for tonight. We want to bring you stuff from Super Serious Comics. And they're down in Australia, and always cool to talk to them. Morgan was on a couple shows ago talking about what's going on. You'll see a little bit more about it tonight. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and make sure we get this party started. So you guys hang back, and we'll start bringing everybody in. Right, you guys are tuning in tonight to hang out with Mr. Travis Gibb and all the cool stuff that he's got in the offering. And Travis has been in this game for a while. He's been cranking out successful Kickstarters since 2018. I know he's got at least a dozen or so under his belt. He talked a little bit about that. And then everything he's got going on with Orange Cone. And, I've been a backer, and I like the stuff he's doing. And he's always helping out, other creators. And that's something that's really vital in this industry. And I thought it was about time we had him on and to talk about some of the cool stuff that he's doing. He's kind of out and about and on location right now, so we'll pull him in a second. Mike's going to be running a couple minutes behind. Everybody's had a busy day, so we'll go ahead and make that happen here in just a second. But let me go ahead and bring him in, and without further ado, let's talk comics, Mr. Gibb.
Hey,
hello, sir.
I don't do this without Mike, though. Me and Mike are close.
I know. I mean, I might as well just tell everybody we're going to hang tight, But
everyone just wait. We're all going to wait quietly. Nobody talk.
Yeah, talk. Yeah, or you talk amongst yourselves, whatever works. Pass notes, it's all good. We're gonna make it. But yeah, he'll be here in just a second. But it's been cool, man. I've been watching this one come together, and been watching run panels and stuff and talk about it and other creator stuff. And it's tell us a little bit kind of about what drew you over to. The part that really is interesting to me is the part that it's like situated in New Hampshire. What was kind of like the draw to that particular area?
So I was born and raised in New Hampshire. I'm born and raised in Rochester, New Hampshire, which is right next to Dover, where the Ninja Turtles are from.
Okay,
so for me, indie comics were in my blood. Like from growing up, I had the Ninja Turtles all growing up. I knew that was an indie comic. I knew that wasn't Marvel or DC. And then, by the time I could buy comics, Image blew up. I'm in my 40s, right. Early 40s. So like for me, indie comics are just make one and they'll come. It's not the way it was. And even further than that, we got the Tick, right? Tick is a New Hampshire basis. So indie comics is kind of in my blood. And I wanted to write a love letter to my state,
Okay.
My grandmother passed away, and she gave me some money at her passing. And I really wanted to make a love letter to New Hampshire, like for my grandmother and for, my friends out there, because I've lost my mom and my dad in the last 4 years. So I really wanted to write something special and intimate and kind of address how I was raised and literally the area. It's set in Rochester, New Hampshire. So set in my hometown. I mentioned comic stores, like pizzerias, the fair,
Nice.
the whole 9 yards. So it's very down to earth and very intimate to the way I was raised.
It's nice to be able to give back like that, and then to point out landmarks that people can identify. It's not some mystery town somewhere in the Northeast. It's regularly, exactly like I said, where you're from. You can name things, people in the area, they can read about it, they can hear these different things. It's nice. I like those kind of books. We're kind of working on one that's similar. So I love hearing that it's tied to something that's something tangible that somebody can go see or
Yeah, you and I talked about that offline.
Yep.
It's so important. Location is so important to me as a writer. When I did New Orleans, I visited New Orleans a couple of years ago, and I gave the artist, here's where I went. Use these pictures.
Yep.
It needs to be the especially New Orleans. It has to be part of the whole character of the book. There's certain places like New Orleans, New York City, San Francisco. These places need to be embedded in the story because people love it. But even when I went to did the Brazil part of Voodoo Nations 1, I really delved that in and broke down in 4 Dead Bodies. My first book, it's set in Canyon City, where my daughter, my wife's daughter, was born. But I've learned so much about that city. So that city,
that's a cool city too.
What's that? Canyon City?
Yeah.
So it has like 3 prisons. So the city has 3 prisons that all kind of, and it was a huge part of the KKK movement when KKK was huge. Like it dominated the area. So like making those areas, if you're going to write real world stuff, like make it in these crazy places that nobody goes to. And I think it makes it element, and those fans love it. When I've gone to Canyon City since then, or other people, I made bumper stickers that say my car broke down in Canyon City, and they're all over there. People
awesome. There's I was born and raised in Louisiana. So I got married in New Orleans, and as you know, and my accent will come in and out. Well, you'll hear me say New Orleans at some point. You'll hear that sneak into the conversation.
Right.
But I still have family back in Louisiana. My dad's still there. 2 of my boys are there, and again, like I said, my wife and I got married there, so we frequent New Orleans a lot, and know it like the back of my hand. Tell friends and family different places to go, different things to see, and really have really wanted to develop a book towards that at some point. Like you said, that same kind of thing. It's like I said, we talked about offline. Same kind of vein, right? Same kind of but that area and talk about it. It's such a culturally rich place. That's why I was happy to crack open the Voodoo Nations book and check it out. And Mike just got his way in here, so let's pull him on in. What's up, man?
What's up, everybody?
Hey. Mike, what has happened to our relationship? When we first met, you would stop in the middle of your day job, go on live with me, not even care. And now you're 8 minutes late to a video that you're part of. Like, what is going on? Like, what has happened to us?
The love is gone.
The first time
you lost that love and feeling.
Co-host on a podcast. No, it's not a love loss, man. It's there's been a lot of different changes in my personal life, and my wife now, she has 2 jobs. She's an instructor for a college, and she's also she also helps people with prescriptions and stuff, saving lives, from here at the desk in the room or the studio.
Right.
So I have my little one, and then I have writing, and then I've been doing some stuff on the side. And of course, everybody knows that's close to me, and some professionals that my mom passed. So I've been dealing with stuff with my sister, and no, nothing personal, Travis. I love you, man. I got a lot of love for what you do at Orange Cone. So
I was sad.
I'm sorry.
I heard you weren't going to Pensacon. That's why I'm not going to Pensacon this year. You're not going to be there. So why?
We had planned on going. We really did, but when my mom passed, that really changed like the first 3 months of our New Year's plans.
Well, you're not there, so I'm not there. Like that's a state. I sent them a message and said, the next time Limitless Mike is there, I'll go. But until then, I'm not a boycott.
Just because you said that though, that means a lot. So I appreciate that.
it's that just kind of goes to show the camaraderie that everybody has in this business, and we can kind of kick around and mess with each other and different things, and it's you don't see that just anywhere. You see people a lot of times people throwing rocks at each other, digs and everything else, and I like to keep that over here off to the side and not let it invade things. But yeah, we were talking about New Orleans. It's got such a vibe to it. That city pops, and when COVID hit down there, of course, because the mayor decided to go ahead and let's just go have Mardi Gras. Let's go, and that just totally changed the trajectory of their tourism for a while. And
it's been pretty much a ghost town.
It is, man. It's the first time in my life. I'm 48 years old. It's the first time in my life I've ever seen pictures of New Orleans when nobody's on Bourbon Street. Not even a rat like trying to take off with something. I'm talking nothing on Bourbon Street. It's just bare.
Maybe they can clean it so it doesn't smell. It gives them some good time.
Man, for those of you who have never experienced that, you have to go to New Orleans just for the watch of the cleanup from the night before, because they party every night hard. Okay, so we stay in a hotel just off Bourbon, and we go get beignets down at Cafe du Monde, and so like every morning, when you go, you see the scrub down. You see everybody hosing down the Clorox, and you watch the night before just kind of rush by and go down the drain. It's a party hard, and they party hard. Like I said, every night. There's not a night that they don't party, and people really enjoy that as the atmosphere for the wedding. So I enjoyed it.
I have a long streak of stories that lasted one night that I can't share here because
You see, there's a perfect comic right there. One Night in New Orleans, right?
It should be a one-off, man. I think anything and everything that could have happened to you in Bourbon Street happened.
That's a good anthology.
We need to do that, man. Let's do it. Let's get together offline and let's put it together, man, because we all have stories that some can be told, some can't.
I learned a very valuable lesson in New Orleans that I was not aware of. I am not an adult. I need that. Hey, it's 2:00. Hey, it's midnight. You can no longer drink. I didn't know I needed that in my life until there was not that, right?
There's not that. No, there is not that.
My advice, from what I learned, is never enter a dance contest you can't win. With or without liquid courage.
Well, any and everything you want to see is down there. Okay. And I broke my kids in early and showed them the other side of life, going down there. And there's the great food. There's great architecture stories. So that's what I said. I was so happy to see that, that Voodoo Nation's, keyed in on that. And it was just that's when I was like, man, he's really got it going on. He's tapping into stuff because I knew the subject matter. Yeah. So I was like, oh yeah. And it's, I'm glad you at least did the research on it, and you weren't like, some series like True Blood that was talking about moss hanging in the bayous of Shreveport, Louisiana.
Sure.
What? I was like, no, don't stop. So
yeah, it was super important to me because really the Voodoo Nation story really takes place is about New Orleans. So my mom, and it ties into Granite State Punk too, so this all tie together. But when my mom passed away, she was a recovering alcoholic. So she had been sober her whole life, but I was grieving, and I drank. I was an adult. I made the choice to drink, but me and my brother, who loved my mom, decided that we're going to get drunk at New Orleans, which is the complete opposite that my mom would ever want, being an AA.
Right.
But we're grieving, we're not thinking.
Yeah.
And I watched myself as I went through that grief for like a year, not being me, making stupid, crazy decisions that you don't make because you're in grief, and watching my wife look at me, go, where is my husband? Where are you? You're not there. And that's really what Voodoo Nations is about. Yes, of course I added supernatural and all that, but it's about a woman who's lost her husband. In this case, it's a voodoo possession, spirit. But for me, it was just grief, trying to figure out what that was and who that person was, and thinking about what my wife was feeling when she's like, I don't identify with this human right here, and I need to find him or he's going to be gone. I need to watch him because, it's such a crazy experience. Me and my brother were both, parents are in AA. My other brother was in rehab, and we were drunk off our ass in New Orleans. It doesn't make any logical sense, but that's
it's hard. It's hard not to be. So in other words, you almost have to be to stay within the city. It's like a mandated thing. So
right.
I had to, that's why I felt the urge to go ahead and do the stuff with the label, because, being from that area and being a Cajun, they basically pull your Cajun card. If you don't do something that's kind of
Right.
back to your heritage, right?
Right.
So it's a lot of good fun. That place just can crank out stories. There's so many things, and it becomes a character in and of itself, right? The right city setting becomes an integral character in things, and you did that well. I thought you did that well in Voodoo Nation. So
Thanks,
I tip my hat to the way you put that one together, because I was impressed with that one.
Yeah, thank you.
It's and again, we could spend the whole episode talking about crazy stories, but the quick one I'll do is when I was bringing my wife down, we were engaged. I was bringing her to meet my father and my two boys, because we lived out of state. We were over in Georgia, and she hadn't been west of the Mississippi. So I got a chance to introduce her to, all the different foods and all the different things that go on, all the traditions and all the gumbos and etouffees and she fell in love with it. And she was going to chef school at the time. So now I get to eat like that all the time.
Nice.
I'm as far away from home as I've ever been, and it feels like I'm there because of the way she cooks all that. So I'm sure you're familiar with what a hurricane is if you've been there.
Yeah,
and
of course.
I brought her to the Pat O'Brien piano bar, and I was still kind of tipping a few at the time. So I sit down and I'm normally in a cowboy hat. So I sit down, tip my cowboy hat down, grab me one, knock one back, and she finishes before me. I kind of look over her and she goes, You mind if is it cool if I have another one? I was like, Are you sure you're prepared for that? Because one's normally enough to kind of kick in. They make Long Island tea look like Kool-Aid. Okay, so I'm like, okay, sure, knock yourself out. Yeah, by the end of that second one, yeah, she was loving life. So it was fun, and we had a rough experience because the car, the battery died in Mobile on our way over there, and I'm in the pouring rain trying to get the thing started again, and realized that it was like the only pair of jeans I brought with me was the ones I was wearing during all that. So I got to walk up and down Bourbon Street with completely soaking wet jeans, So thank God we were able to get in the hotel and get that fixed. But yeah, many stories we could tell. Go ahead and kind of set our listeners up for the kind of the groundwork for Granite State Punk. Kind of how you talked about it. You wanted the love letter for the state and for giving back. Where does your main character kind of step off from that? Where does he kind of get
Yeah. So going back to my parents' death, my mom and my dad, like I'm still kind of adjusting to that, and I came from a drug and alcohol background. So this story is kind of like, hey, so I was so scared of like drugs and alcohol and going down that route. I moved to Florida away from New Hampshire to get away from that just as far as I could to make sure I didn't become what I feared. And as my parents died and as I started to figure it out, once my dad died, I was like, I'm so excited to leave the state and never come back. But I had a kid like 3 days later, my son, and I realized I have to figure out what I love about New Hampshire and not just the pain of my parents' death and the pain of my upbringing. Like, I got to figure out what that is. So that's when I started writing this story about this guy named Zeke, who he is a party animal. He just got out of prison for drug and alcohol abuse. He is on house arrest, and he goes to his dead parents' house, and he's kind of sitting in the wreckage of his old life. Kind of like I have been, with both my mom and my dad, sitting in the house and like trying to look at this life that wasn't familiar to me anymore because I've been away from it so long. And him trying to figure out who he was, and why he figures out who he was. He figures out that he was related to a coven of witches that are connected to the Salem witch trials, which is up there in New England, and the Man in the Mountain. So the Man in the Mountain is an iconic face on anything New Hampshire. So license plate, highway signs, coins, anything New Hampshire, the Man in the Mountain is part of it. Well, it fell down in 2003. So I kind of wrote a fictional history of what that looks like with magic and skull golems and all sorts of stuff. But the other thing I did was I wrote about my anxiety. So this book breaks the fourth wall. It kind of talks directly at you, kind of like a Deadpool-ish, or more of if you're a film guy, I know Mike is a little bit, SLC Punk. So very much like in your face, how he feels and all that stuff. So I kind of wrote all that together, gave it a vibe. So I wrote basically what I would write for a 4-issue miniseries into one issue with the best artists that I could get. Like, I love Patrick Brumeyer. I think he does amazing Sean Murphy style, like gritty lines that are very modern right now. If you're reading like Something's Killing the Children or anything from Vault, Autumnal or whatever. So I wanted to put those together and make this most kick-ass issue ever. And if you notice, if anybody's been following my campaigns forever, this is the first campaign that doesn't have a retail tier. I feel so strongly about this. And even so, I can't announce who it is, but someone has already picked it up because of the book and the content of what it is. So I'm going to be working with them with it.
Great.
Which is really cool. Like this is my opus. Like,
nice.
I'm writing more books, but like, this is my opus. Like, read this one.
Well, it's awesome to hear that's already happened. I mean, that's what everybody's after, right? That's what everybody wants to happen.
Yeah.
But man, I can't wait to hear the unveil on that one.
Yeah, it's going to be cool, and we're going to do something different. So people who are buying it now will get it then, but buy it now and you get the first printing. You know, you're not going to have to wait.
Awesome. I got that pulled up if you want to take a look at it.
Yeah, let's go ahead and crank it in there. We're everybody, for the viewing audience, we're going to kind of Brady Bunch off to the side while the main screen pulls up. And then if there's something for our listening audience that's going to be not in there, we'll have to catch later. We can always add that back in. So go ahead and pull it up, man, and I'll catch it and throw it up there. All right.
Yeah, I want to apologize to the fans of the echo. So I want to tell everyone where I'm at. My wife got in a car accident, and I am at the location where she's at. So I'm kind of sitting and chilling where she's at. She's upstairs, so I'm in the lobby doing this interview.
Yeah, and I told you when he called me a while ago, and I'm sitting there, and I was actually at the chiropractor's office, and when he called, I was like, man, we can do this later. We can reschedule. It's like, no, we'll make it work. And
I want to do this.
when he came in the green room, I was like, man, this is the coolest foreboding sound ever. This is because he's got these, for the listening audience out there that's not on the viewing side, he's got these tall windows behind him. It's almost like this church-esque looking thing. And we're talking about witches and covenants, and
I almost thought when I popped in, I was like, Oz.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, he's a yeah. It's really awesome setting though, man. Well, yeah, go ahead. Mike's going to drive, so just kind of go ahead and walk us through, because I know right now you have, about 12 days left? Yeah, it's 12.
Yeah. First, I want to point out, I'm not pointing this out to everybody, but Kevin, if you caught just a glimpse of your reading, he has the bar up top because that means he's a professional. So if you don't trust him, that's just an example. Only people who are in the industry knows about how to get that bar at the top so they can read them. So good for you.
I'm a Kickstarter nerd. I love to see what makes people tick and how they succeed.
Yeah, that's a cool graphic that not everyone knows how to do. Good for you.
Thank you. And you are doing incredibly well, aren't you?
I am. I'm doing very well. I beat my number goal for any single issue. I've obviously done more with Cthulhu, Invades, Oz, and Holiday Spirits, but my backer goal at 278 is my top for a single issue. So we're very close. We're 10 away from that. We'll definitely hit that in the next 10 days. So I'm super excited about that. But yeah, we're killing it. This campaign, people are really resonating with it.
You want to just take us through while I'm scrolling?
Sure, yeah. So this is Zeke. If you're great, Zeke it's a raw, ready look at the history of New Hampshire and the Old Man of the Mountain. Kind of what I talked to you about before. We've got all sorts of cover options and very, very cool things. It's all taken from my hometown. We have a 5-page preview on the issue on the Kickstarter, which is really, really good. I highly recommend it. Kind of shows you the vibe of the book. I show you all the books that I've done before on the campaign to show that you can trust me and all that, which is really good. This is a 24-page, but we actually added another 4 pages, which is cool. So it'll be 28. Also, I know Mike knows this, but not everybody knows this. I complete my book before I launch. So this, and spoiler, those other 4 pages are done too, before I launch the campaign.
Nice. And that's always a good practice. Yeah, we work with several people that do that. There's always the mix, right? They're either doing it to get buy-in from the audience, right, and to share it out there, or they're doing it for kind of market research for viability, or they're doing it to finish paying an artist. But I always love it when a creator has everything together, it's a done deal, and it's just bringing the offering out there to kind of show it out and, get the ball rolling. So,
man, I love this art print graphic right here. That is awesome.
Yeah, so you get an art print. We have a fictional band in this comic called the Yankee Swappers, which are very, very cool. It's got cool old like Led Zeppelin,
I was thinking Iron Maiden.
Iron Maiden, that's what I was thinking. A kind of cover art, which is really cool. So you're going to get that. Like right now, you've unlocked that. You've unlocked an embroidered patch. So you're going to get a patch if you're a biker, get it. Holographic sticker, and then a cover magnet of our metal cover. We'll unlock at 9,000, but we're almost there. We're $500 away. Plus, for every 50 backers, I'm going to give you another digital comic. So we've already unlocked 5, but we'll give you more as we go, which is really, really cool. And one of the cool things too, I try to keep things cheap. You can get the digital of this book for $3. It's not a big expense, super, super inexpensive. I really want everyone to be able to try this. The main cover is done by our main artist, which is Patrick Brumeyer. He did this cool picture of like a mosh pit and skeletons. I love it. It's one of the coolest covers I've ever seen. Love it so much. And then we have our live free or die. So if you're not I apologize, Kevin. if you have to live free or die is the motto of New Hampshire, and that's how you do it. That's kind of their motto. So we made a thing with an expletive to it.
Well, the easiest thing with that is, and I'm a whole freedom of speech kind of guy. It's the whole thing with the other. Once we pull it on the track, we go ahead and pluck out those things before we run it on the mainstream, so it'll be like it never happened. So that's cool.
Yeah. I know.
What I tell people, everybody gets all comfortable, and when you get comfortable, that's what happens, right? We're all just sitting there BSing about comics, so that's totally. But yeah, we're good.
Well, and it said it on the page. I had to read it.
Exactly.
So that's Ian Hill. He's an amazing cover artist. He does very, very cool, dark, gritty stuff. Highly recommended. Very affordable for you indie guys. So if you're watching this because you're a learner or stuff, he's very affordable for an artist. If you need someone who's affordable, Ian Hill's very, very good, and he kills it every single time.
This right here is awesome. And
then I got this collab. So this is a version, so without the trade dress, with a graffiti background, kind of has the live free or die. This is a collab between Kyle Willis and Patrick Brumeyer. They kind of went together and made this cool cover.
I went to high school with a guy that actually did that to his room. He was back when we called him Thrashers, right? When we were all growing up. He was a big skateboard guy, and his whole room was painted black. And he had this. I mean, he was very good artist, and he had all Iron Maiden, the Eddie and all the different things painted on his floor, and everything up the wall. So, and he skated in his room. He pulled out all the carpet. There was a mattress on the floor. So yeah, when I saw this, I was like, hey, that's Paul's room. It resonated right away.
So he had parents that didn't care. All right, good to know.
Pretty much. And it was he literally
free your mind, son.
Man, and then he had like all these skateboard posters up the wall, and if you knew which ones to peel back, they had other things underneath them. It was like a hidden thing. But they didn't care. He had half his head shaved, and he had long down one side. He had boots with the screws in them. He had put it all the way around his army boots. Stood out. Hell of an artist, though, man. Good friend of mine. But we used to all skateboard together, and I'll tell you a story after the thing, but he actually fell off the back of my car skateboarding one time, so at a decent rate of speed. So yeah.
So I saw Mike's face when he saw this one. He hadn't seen this one before. So this is Stefano Castillo. This guy does books for heavy metal and Scout and Source Point. Oh. Very, very sought after artist. I was lucky to get him to do a cover. So this is a very limited 100 set cover that we have, which is very cool.
I know which one Mike's going to get. I can't see that now.
It's cool. So it's $25 to get it by itself, or $15 as an add-on. So we have it either way.
Awesome.
And this is our metal cover. So we did a metal cover. This one. This is my favorite cover, but it's a metal. So we're only doing 50 of that bad boy, but it's pretty dope.
That shows you the sheer size of this giant man that you're talking about.
Yeah. And it's a real thing. It fell off in 2003, but yeah, you can find pictures of it online. It was massive. It was huge. And then I'm doing this really cool thing on certain pledge levels on the higher collectors tier. We're going to give you a black and white of the cover, and I'm going to punkify it. I'm going to do some graffiti to it. I'm going to do some all stuff and remark it just for you, for everybody. And I kind of show you an example of what I'm going to do. So that's in the collector's kit. I think it's really cool. And if you don't want that, you just want the black and white to just look at Patrick's detail, you can do that as well.
Awesome, man. That's really creative right there. Here's the previews.
Yeah, the previews are really cool. Like I said, I break the fourth wall. We talk about Game of Thrones. We talk about Hamilton. We talk about all sorts of stuff.
Oh, nice. I love that Amy Chu and that Rob Layfield-esque breaking the fourth wall type dialogue. It always made me feel more connected with the character in the book.
Yeah, it was fun to do. I've never done it before. This is the first time I've done it. And I really, really like it. I really like the way it vibes. And even like what's cool about it too, the shirts that these people are wearing are bands from New Hampshire. So they're bands from when I grew up and things like that. So except for the Yankee Swappers, that's a fictional band. But yeah. And there's our skull golem. We had to show you. I wanted to leave it as a spoiler, but if someone draws a monster like that, you got to show it off, right?
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's got like 15 heads.
It's very, very cool. I'm a big fan.
That is gnarly. What?
So yeah, that's a new pledge level. We just added that today, so that's the first announcement. So our digital package, like I said, is 3 and then 6 for the digital. For the deluxe has a script and some behind the scenes. Then I have a digital sampler. As we know, I have a ton of books with orange cones, so you can get all of them. The first issue of each of them for 10. Or if you want all my stuff, it's $35, and I give you what is that? 8, 16, 24 books. It's over 500 pages of content.
Oh wow! So, what a value!
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I still, I might just jump on this band train anyway because I need my 4th issue of Broke Down because I didn't get it when I met you and I should have.
Right. Well, I think you can buy it as an add-on, but if you can't, just buy something of equivalent value and tell me it broke down 4. But I keep it pretty cheap, right? So you can get A and B. You can get 3 covers for 40, 2 covers for 26. They kind of stack every time you go. 40, you get 3 covers. 50, you get 4 covers. It kind of stacks up. Yep. And then I have collector's kit. That's where it has that remark, and it has a poly bag and a magnet. We've also added for the collector's kit. They also get that other cover that we have, the cover D. It's not in the picture, but it is added. It's in there.
I went ahead and did the standard cover plus 3 add-ons. So I think
nice.
Yeah, I like being able to pick and choose like that. Add-ons is such a great thing. You can just, like you said, go back, capture something you may have missed as another issue, or like something that's similar to something else you've already had. So yeah, I really like the add-on features.
Well, and if anybody's like me, I'm a super backer, so I backed 599 projects.
Yep.
Some of those I backed digital just to try it out. I didn't feel the good vibe, but I read it, I love it. So next time it comes around, I get to buy the whole thing. And
there you go.
So that add-on allows me to do that.
Yeah, and that's one thing out there for you guys getting into the business. Once you get a few under your belt, always reach back to the previous stuff. You always want to have that offering out there to be able to go back as many books as you can. So again, like Travis said, if you miss something or you just want to test something out, go back and grab it later. Definitely have that in your offering.
Yeah, and even I'm going to even touch base on that even further, Kevin. A lot of Kickstarters that fail, why they failed is they did like an issue 2 or an issue 3, and they didn't offer 1 and 2. Like it happens all the time. It's a rookie mistake. They'll just talk about issue 3, and no one's going to jump on in issue 3. That's not going to happen.
No.
And this shows all the books I fulfilled. I've done 12, like I said, 12 Kickstarters under Orange Cone, and I've done about 20 with other people, collabs, and people needed my help and stuff like that.
Awesome. That is the end. That is the end.
That is all the beauty.
It really is a good looking book, man. The art, I think, is a little different from the stuff I've seen come out of Orange Cone, but I honestly like it a lot.
Yeah, and this is more so, talking about this is, so one of the things I hate about creators, when you're talking about creator comics, and I'm going to put you on blast, people, if this applies to you, I apologize. But I see people who go on these shows and they're like, I've written 54 issues in my series. They're all ready to go. Just, we're getting the art for this one, we're on issue 1. Well, that means when I hear that, I'm like, you don't listen to your fans. You don't care what the fans say, right? Where I actually listen. So I took feedback from Broke Down. They were like, Broke Down's a great story. I love it, but it was too bright. Now, that was me on purpose. I tried something bright. I wanted to be like Quentin Tarantino, right? Quentin Tarantino writes a bright crime story when you compare it to like The Godfather and everything came out before it. It was wise. So I did that on purpose. People didn't vibe with that. They loved the story, but the art didn't reflect what they wanted to see. Cool, I can adjust. Same thing with Voodoo Nations. They're like, we love how tight you can write a script. We didn't know you could do that. Because Voodoo Nations, I write 1 and 2, like we talked about earlier, the locations are so important. So I have to not only tell a story, but lynch it in these locations because we're traveling around. We went to Brazil in the first one, New Orleans in the second one, then this one we're going to Mexico in the third one. So I have to write a tight story. So I took the best parts of both of those, put that together, added some, personal trauma and some anxiety, and then you got Granite State Punk.
Nice.
Regular Travis.
And that's such a key thing out there, you guys listening that are getting into this, because you have to, it's the people that have been there, done that. You really need to kind of follow the lead and learn, because if not, you're just going to be burning some time, and you're going to get sad, and you're going to not want to jump back in it. You're going to get just things like that. And that's why I said in the beginning, when I was kind of giving the accolades to what Travis does, I always like, listening on the panels. I always fire up the panels in the studio and I'm working on other stuff, and just listen through and listen to the back and forth vibe of people bringing out, how they screwed up before, or, hey, learn from this. I did this mistake. Just kind of get all that out there. It's advice that you can tune into while you got something else going on, and just soak it up, man. You guys, it's great stuff.
People don't want to see perfection. They don't pay for that. That's why everybody loves a flawed hero. And that's why comics is one of my favorite mediums. So they also like to see that reflected in the creators. And Travis is so transparent on social media. I think that's one of the reasons why he's so successful, because he engages and interacts.
It's everybody who's successful.
Yeah.
Everybody from Brian Michael Bendis,
like, I'm this kind of person.
Donnie Cates, all of them, they're interactive, and they make themselves available to their fans, and it's that intimate level is what gets you to that next level. So if you want to be in this business and you just want to write stuff and be behind a desk, that's probably not going to work out for you, buddy. It's just probably not, unless you are super friggin' talented, like beyond measure. Like, it's probably not going to work. You're probably going to have to be intimate with your fans and talk to them about, and take your licks when you make a mistake, right?
Oh yeah. That's one of the things that I always tell new creators, especially artists, because just in the character of just an artist in general, most of them are very introverted, and they just want to be in a room and draw, and they don't want to be messed with. Just like shove food under the door, poke me when it's time to do something else. Just do that and stay self-contained. To bring them on shows and to pull them out of that shell, not everybody is Mighty Michael Moore and just has that natural vibe and can just just take off to the podcast and has everybody captivated. That's a gift. And not everybody's that way. And they're like, I said it on an earlier podcast about talking with writers all the time, and they can write like just unbelievable. And then you pull them onto a show. And again, this is no knock against anybody, but this is just general things we've learned. And you bring them on a show and you say, so, what kind of brought you to this point, and what kind of brought you to this book, and what inspired your background? They go, Marvel. Right. And then there's just crickets, and you're like, okay. And I, of course, had to learn to that give and take and push and pull and get questions and kind of keep things moving. But you go, so who at Marvel do you figure, zeroed you in, or what particular issue? And you have to just go pull, and then some, like we talked to you earlier and just said, hey, look, what inspired you? And you just went into it. And that's what people want. They want to get engaged with the artist and the creators and feel like they're a part of the process as well.
Well, and if you're shy, but you can write, then do that via a newsletter. Like, people do great on newsletters and stuff. There's ways to do that. Figure out what your strength is to get that going. I remember Ed Brubaker when he was in the middle of his cap run. So he killed Nova off panel. Like, Nova Nomad. He kills Nomad. And then like a year later, he's like, dude, I didn't know so many people cared about Nomad. I thought nobody cared about that 90s character, and wrote an issue just showing his death and like giving back to the fans. And it's stuff like that really make a difference. And why, Winter Soldier got the stuff, because he cared about, that's why he got to bring Bucky back versus somebody else, because he cared about
right.
He found the details. He found that stuff. So if you really want to work for the big two, or even for a bigger publisher, you need to care intimately about the project. You can't just go, this character's cool. Why is he cool? And intimately, why is he so special that we need to latch on to him? And that's important.
That's an amazing point.
Yeah.
Um,
You can't just show up with something cool and be like, I think this is great. This will work. How do you know? Like, give us a reason to care.
Exactly. Tell me, the famous line I've always taught was, tell me more. Keep tell me more. What else do I need to really fall in love with this character? It's so amazing to where, especially too, when young people get involved with a book, and one of the people that we deal with and have for a long time was Barry Dutter, and Barry. It's no secret that Barry had no love lost for the She-Hulk, and was literally writing before the internet was big. Right, was writing all these letters to the editor, talking about why did Marvel do the same thing DC did? Now there's a Batwoman, and there's this, and now there's a She-Hulk and a Spider-Woman, and he was just livid. I mean, he's a young kid, and he's just writing, and he's getting putting fake signatures on all these things and shipping it to Marvel to show that there's 1,000 people that don't want this to happen, and then he pulls out an issue one time in his local comic shop or 7-Eleven, wherever he's at, and he opens it up, and there's the jailer, which is named Dutta, and he goes, well, that's kind of like a similar, and he found out that they named Dutta after Barry Dutter. And and then he goes and gets a job there, and the editor was like, "Hey, isn't that crazy guy that kept writing letters?" They're like, "It's okay, he's cool," But he had that relationship. He had a relationship with that character, and it wasn't a good one. And of course, later he was like, "Everything's cool," but it's just people get engaged. They want to, like you said perfectly, they want to cling to something. They want to be able to latch on to that flawed hero that's going to make it in life and find a way. That was the beauty behind the stuff with Spider-Man, right? That's because he was a kid who had problems. He had homework. He had girl problems. He had acne. He was just your basic kid. And I think those kind of things are what people adhere to. So bravo for bringing that back into a story that everybody can relate to, especially in the way it's been spun, man. It's an awesome job.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, you guys make sure you go out there and check it out. You got 12 days left, so don't do like me. I'm the guy that always waits to oh my God, there's 3 hours. I gotta go jump on a book. I went ahead and got that out of the way, so I'm not doing that this time. I mean, I've missed books. I've missed books that we've done before that I had to go back. I was like, look, man, I'm sorry. We were out there pushing it. I'm that guy. There's the guy. Yeah, there's the people that buy in the beginning that are the early birds and then jump on it right there, right? And there's the people in the middle that wait till it funds and then they buy, right? And then there's the people at the end like me. They're like, I better hurry up and get that. I might miss it. So that's always I can easily market to that person because I'm that guy.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I'm going to try to print a lot less just because I know I'm going to have it later. So I'm going to try to print a lot less than I normally do because I print big. I print 1,000 print runs. I don't print to order. I know a lot of people just use, do the geo thing, but I do a lot of cons. I live in Florida. I can literally do a con every weekend if I want to.
Exactly.
So I need to print a lot.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, yeah. Is there any parting words you'd like to tell anybody about maybe some of the other things that are coming up, or maybe something to watch for? Do you got anything?
Yeah. I got to go really quick because my wife should be getting out soon. I want to make sure I'm there for her. But yeah, Orange Cone has a lot of stuff coming this year. I'm sure you'll see me again. I have Cthulhu Invades Wonderland. Everyone's excited about that. The last one raised over $20,000. We had 500 plus backers. Huge. So this is the sequel to Cthulhu Invades Oz. I have some of the best talent in it. That's going to be launching in March. Assuming that the paper shortage figures itself out, then we're going to launch Voodoo Nation 3.
We can talk because we loaded up on paper before all that happened. So we can, nice. if you need some stuff, let's talk because we're
maybe I want to launch that book, so that may happen.
Well, we had some creators that had their books held over, and we're like, oh no, we're not going to let this happen again. So.
Voodoo Nation 3. We're gonna talk about that. That's gonna be launching, which is a very big book. That's completely done. I just got the last page today, which is really awesome. In fact, he just sent me an alternate cover right while we're talking that I'm super stoked to look at. But I have to talk to you guys. Maybe I'll share with you privately. We can see it together.
Do you know about when that book's going to launch? I'd love to have you back on for the launch of that.
So Voodoo is supposed to be Voodoo is going to be May. Cthulhu Invades Wonderland is March, and then I'm going to do. And then after that is Pup Van Winkle.
Okay.
Which is my wife wrote a story. It's kind of like a Stray Dogs kind of thing. It's about a dog who falls asleep for 7 years because he was poisoned, and when he wakes up, all dogs are being captured. He has to figure out why and what connection to him it was. It's a very cool Stray Dogs-ish. I have, what else do I have coming out? I have the Broke Down and 4 Dead Bodies trade paperback, which is 20 pages of new content from creators, which is really cool. So that's going to be really fun. So we've got a whole bunch of backup stories that added to that, which is going to be great, as well as some main story stuff that I added. So that's going to be something to look out. We got Holiday Spirits 2 coming in November. And then I have something in October, but I cannot announce that because I'm keeping it hush.
Okay. Well, stay tuned, people. That's more to come. We hope everything goes okay with your wife. I hope all things, everything gets taken care of with that. Man, those that kind of stuff just sets you sideways quick and can. And
but you know what? Again, it's a good omen. Every issue of Broke Down and 4 Dead Bodies, my car broke down. Every single issue when I had the Kickstarter, a car that I owned broke down. So it's kind of like the gods going, all right, well, this is your thing, That's what I get apparently.
Well, at least you found a silver lining in that, so that's a good thing. But again, thoughts and prayers. Hope everything works out well, and just kind of tell me offline, make sure everything's good. And thanks for coming to hang out. And we'll talk to you soon, man.
Any of your crew that want to come on, I do a Wednesday show when I'm live, where I do creator hangouts. They're more than welcome to message me, and I can schedule them on, and we can get that going. And that helps. It meets some other creators, and I always get people backers because
we need to pull that over and get you on the NSC Roadshow. That way, it's already on there. When people pull up the Roadshow, they can see it and they go over and check it out. So,
that may be something. The negative of it is I don't want to do it full time. I'm not a podcaster, but I do it when I'm live. So we'll see.
Look, we got pulled into this, man.
Let me tell you about next week. I know I should go, but next week I'm only getting my higher level people. So that sounds rude. My pros, the people who are higher level than me. So I've got people from Scout, I've got people from Marvel and DC, I've got people from Image, I've got people from stuff. So I'm only getting my pros to hang out with me next week. So that's going to be really cool. And then the week after that, we'll go back to Kickstarter stuff. So you'll never know who we'll see.
There you go.
That is Orange Conies.
Yeah.
For a product.
But I appreciate you.
Yeah, we'll get together about it. Take care, man. Always fun, man.
Travis is a lot of fun.
Yeah, but he called me like I'm leaving the chiropractor's off, and I get a call I guess about an hour before. He's like, "Hey, man, look, I'm at the hospital, and my wife got in the car." I was like, "Dude, we can completely reschedule this." He's like, "No, I want to come on. Everything's cool." And then when he came on in the green room, and again, he's got these tall glass windows behind him, and this echoey, foreboding sound of everything. I was like, "That's kind of cool. We're going to go with it." And I said, "We're gonna be in and out." So we're gonna.
Man, my wife would have been like, "Get off that show, come over here."
she doesn't even know me. She probably hates me. She's what? He's doing what? Where? Where's my husband? Yeah, that might not be a good thing. But we're gonna run through previews real quick, and we're gonna bail out of here. But right off the bat, let's see. We're gonna start here. Let's start off with this one just finished out. And this is Legends of the Realm. And we want to congratulate Jack Holder. This book was, he put a higher level on it than the other previous books. And it was, we kind of picked it up not before, but right as it got out of the gate. And we did a big team effort for it. And it broke a backer goal for him. So on this particular offering, he had 208 backers. So he was pretty excited about that. And he's got a couple more books he's already lined up to do with us. So we're extremely happy for Jack to be able to get this book. Again, 300 pages of fantasy digital content. I mean, it was just a big offering because, again, we're adding PDFs to this offering as this thing would move forward. So the books just kept loading up. And people get a pretty good stack for their money. So it's a good trade out. Next, a book that's live right now. And this book is from a first-time creator. And this is from Sean Hainsworth, and it funded as a first-time creator. It funded in less than 8 hours. So right off the bat, that activated stretch goal 1, which was issue 1 of Fractured Shards, and issue 2 of Fractured Shards just funded just a couple weeks, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and that was actually a book that one of Travis's books was featured on. So Voodoo Nations was actually one of the ones you could pick up on Fractured Shards too. So that was pretty cool. And then we're right around the corner at the stretch goal for 5,000 is going to get people this another number one book, which is the book from Frank Forty, which is Warlash and Bioburden, which did very well. So we're right around the corner from unlocking that one. And there's more stretch goals. So you can go in right now. It's free sticker week. Make sure you swing by and pick it up. Sean's going to come on here in a couple days and is going to go ahead and give a live stream and talk about some other cool things you get as that campaign starts to wind down. Like I said, it already funded right out of the gate. He's about halfway through. He's a little bit more than halfway. He's got 10 days left. And again, just creeping up on backers to be able to get that next goal. And we're going to talk about some more of the books that he's got coming out because he's launching back to back to back to back. So The Killing Machine came out, and then he's got right behind that is Woodstake. And Woodstake is if a vampire descended upon Woodstock. And when we talked earlier about, being specific as far as cities and settings and that kind of stuff, he's very, very specific about who's on stage at the time, what's going on in the crowd. I mean, you feel you're at Woodstock because everything is very to that time period. So make sure you take a look at that. And then he's got kind of an erotic robot thing coming out after that. So again, January, February, March, bang, bang, bang. Right out of the gate with 3 books, brand new company. So make sure you check that out. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a sampling. Like I said, it's still going on, but here is a little bit of what's going on with that book. Here's a sample of The Killing Machine. So again, you still got a little bit of time left with that one. Next up is Amerikaiju, which is Edgar Paston presents The Return of Amerikaiju. You're going to make sure you want to check that out. That book comes with something really cool that I have right here, and I'm going to go ahead and show you because you can get one of these with this campaign, and you can get different ones, which is the cool thing. When this one came in, I did not expect it, but to show you guys, this is one of the figures that comes with the campaign. Let me move. I got the light kind of bright right now, but this is this thing's huge. It's 8-inch. This one is kind of it's a cotton candy looking one. Back off the light a little bit. Like I said, this thing 8 inches tall. Like Aguero says, is as big as your head. So that's always his claim to it. Again, he's a toy designer. He designed this feat. Head moves, good articulation, very detailed kaiju. Really cool tail and stuff. And you can get this in multiple colors. Multiple figures are coming out. Again, it's part of the offering. So it's as much about the toys as it about the comics. So you're going to want to check out Ike, which is the hero here going to fight, and help save the town of Precious. And you want to kind of get involved in that and see what Ike can do. And the campaign is just starting off. So make sure you go give it some love right away. Don't miss out on it. You want to get right there. Next one up from that is one that's, again, running right now, which is Shadow's Daughter. And Shadow's Daughter is a book that's from Australia, but it's getting also printed here, so you don't have to basically donate a kidney to ship it across the ocean. So you can see the whole thing about this. The shadow, the what she wields is wrapping out from around her, and it has this tattoo artist up against the wall, and she's kind of interrogating about some things when she's upset. And that's how she does. She moves and wields shadow. She's a shadowmancer. So, and also too, here's Minky. Minky is like the guy that you would go to when you need stuff, right? If you need supplies or guns or something, he's always the guy that has to deal with something somewhere. So here's kind of Minky talking about what happened. Or let me show you real quick. Minky is letting you know right off the bat that, hey, at 50 backers, which they're just, let's see, they are right there. They're almost there. If you get, once the 50th backer hits, this awesome Virgin cover is released. And that's the one right there I've got my eye on because that's just such a beautiful cover. And
that is awesome.
And then here, so Mickey is an integral character, and he comes on all the time. And here's Mickey giving you a little bit more about what happened when the campaign first started.
is already funded in 30 minutes. Thank you. Now we unveiling many cool bonus things, what we tell you about very soon, like stretch goals and those kind of things.
Six-book offering, 240 pages of just, absolute mayhem, and it's worth checking out. So here is another little bit of another preview of what's going on with Shadow's Daughter. Next up is Mindbender, and Mindbender comes from the mind of Paul Gomez, and this is his third offering. He's a new creator. First two got funded and out of the gate, and he decided to go ahead and do a third round, and that will be available as of Monday. So again, any of these books we're talking about, and I want to show you a quick preview, and then I want to show you where you can find them. Here is the quick preview to a little bit more about what's going on with Mindbender.
What would you do if your life was shattered by the one person you loved the most? Follow writer Paul Gomez on his dark vision of Fantasy Island with a twist. What would you ask for? What would you do with the power of the mind? On Scott's darkest day, he answers those questions and deals with the consequences of his actions. San Espina's unique art presents Mindbender. It's not always what it seems.
There's some more of that kind of gritty art that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing right now. And so he's keyed in on that. So again, that was the last book that's in form right now. So again, if there's other things you want to see on there, or you want to see what's the latest things about to come out, or some things that are already there, if you just swing over to inkedpub.com, again, that's inked, P-U-B for publication, inkedpub.com, you can see some of the stuff that's in the coming soon mode, some of the stuff that's already live right now. So again, just swing over to inkedpub.com, basically your source for the best in crowdfunded comics, because we want to get the message out there for you guys and get these books moving and, get them funded and keep moving. So make sure you check out that. And next week, Paul's going to be on the show, and you'll get to hear more about Mindbender. Like I said, it's launching Monday, so it will be the week of the launch, and we'll kind of see how he's doing. We'll check in with him. It's always fun checking in with Paul and seeing what's going on. Always has lots of stories and of his travels. He's been hitting the con circuit, so we'll kind of see how that's been working out for him. But make sure you tune into that. And we're about to sign off, and we enjoyed you guys being here. Is there anything that you want to let them know, Mike, what's going on on the world of Mike right now?
The world of Mike right now is a lot of stories and a lot of oh man, just a lot of stories. I really have like a binder full. I actually had to go to Walmart the other day and buy a binder and get some plastic inserts just so I could organize all my thoughts. But
Nice.
Wild Only's coming along nicely. I just got 2 more color pages in today. I'm hoping we could do something with that in February. But like Travis said, and I kind of agree with this, when you do a Kickstarter, it's always best to have everything ready.
Yeah.
So you don't have people waiting in fulfillment. The rule of thumb is, I think, is starting to become more prevalent, is 3 months out. It
Yeah.
should be your max from the time you finish your campaign, which I think is fair, because you and I both know how horrible it is to wait 6, 7, 8 months.
Oh yeah, there's been stuff. I mean, and it's worse for the gaming market, right? Because games, you may wait a year, 2 years before you actually get the game.
Yes.
So it's it kind of was.
We were talking about this earlier, like the Marvel Zombies game that Marvel just released. Even though I missed out on it, like for $500, I think was the highest tier. You get over like 80 Marvel Zombies miniatures for the games that you could like custom paint yourself and they capture from the comics. But you don't get that until like the end of this year, next year. So that's a long time to wait.
It kind of reminds me of like racing tickets because I followed racing all my life, and there's a friend of mine that was going to go to the Indianapolis 500, and he jumped on the call and bought his tickets. And this is like, I don't know, in like 2017 or something. And the lady on the other end of the phone was like, "Well, congratulations on your ticket for the 2020 Indianapolis 500." He's like, "What?" She's like, "Well, these tickets aren't for like another 3 years, so that's the only ones that are available." I mean, it was like that far out. I mean, it was like, that's just what you had to do. Like when I was doing a lot of the stuff with the cons before all the stuff COVID hit, the best time to get your excuse me, your Walker Stalker tickets was at least a year in advance. Okay. So, in which I completely planned that wrong, because when I bought them a year in advance, that was the weekend before we got married. So it was a lot of running around from state to state and doing this, like I said, exactly right before the wedding, it was fun because we were traveling all over the place, but it was exhausting because we were up in Tennessee, for the honeymoon. Well, actually, we were over in Atlanta for Walker Stalker, back down to New Orleans for the wedding, back up to Tennessee for the honeymoon. Just stayed in a nice cabin, and it was a lot of traveling. But it felt like 2 vacations back to back, which literally it was.
For something on Kickstarter, you're going to have to wait, especially because like paper shortages, your supply chain interruptions. But I think what's important that I want to hit on is that trust that you build with the people that are backing you. That's hard to get back once it's gone. Those people never come back to your campaign or back to the project, and that's why creators like Travis are so successful at the crowdfunding level, and because he keeps consistency among one of the things that he releases. Instead of just like art and story, he also releases consistency in his projects and his social media postings and his interactions with fans. And that's something I want to capture in my campaign too. So as much as I would like to rush Wild Oni out of the gate, slow and steady wins the race.
There you go. I'd rather see you wait, man. Honestly, I'd rather see it get to where you need it before it goes out there. Like I said, every shape and form come through the doors here, and it's just to figure out. And sometimes I've told people to wait. I said you're not ready yet, and they go, "What? I gotta get out there." I'm like, you're not ready yet.
And it has been great, man, because it's actually it's made the story for the next few issues more rich in value and quality, because I've had time to sit on the pages that I have now, and I've been able to grow it. So like when we did J.S. Earl's Pistol Fist, he gave me an idea because he has an anthology of prose stories in novelesque form, and it gave me an awesome idea, because now I can flex my prose muscles. And so I have a small prose story that I'm about to start working on in between issues 1 and 2 that I'm going to publish. That'll be an offering as an add-on. Nice. That'll introduce the new protagonist into the storyline, and it's given me time to do some more research on the back end, because that's one thing I don't want to fail at, is someone opening my book, reading this like this isn't real. Like, where did he get this?
Well, that's what Mike Barron hit upon about believability in books, and on the last show. But it's always interesting when that happens. Like when, for instance, the silver lining in the fact that Shadow's Daughter was delayed, because you think we have a hard time getting paper. It's even worse over there in Australia right now trying to get paper. So that actually afforded him the opportunity to turn a 4-book offering into a 6-book offering.
Yeah.
So, and that's just an awesome thing. It was just kind of finished things off, and it was a really, not that it wasn't a strong campaign before, but that just kind of gave it some extra beef to jump out there and flex with, and it funded in 30 minutes. So, I mean, that just tells you right there. It also, what I tell people, and I just told somebody right before the show, they were calling and wanting to talk about days to start and everything. Yeah. And they told me where they were at in the construction of the book. I said, well, they said, yeah, but we're not going to be ready for maybe another 3 months, 4 at least, maybe 5. I said, okay, there's nothing wrong with starting now as far as advertising. Yeah. And then, what do you mean? I said, you're a new creator. You're completely unknown. You're just, you need to get your name out there. I said, and like in the case of Shadow's Daughter, even though he wasn't a new creator, he's fairly new. But even though he wasn't a new creator, it was nice to keep that book out there. And we did that for him. We kept that book alive out there in podcasts and ads and other social media. And the numbers just kept growing and people paying attention to it. So when it hit. It was ready. People, we pulled the pin on it and bam, it was done.
See,
Not the
and that's one of the cool things about like all my expenses are coming out of pocket.
Yeah.
Like I'm completely funding this. Like, so when the campaign comes out, what I'm asking for is for print run money. That's it.
right.
Everything else gets carried over to the next book. That
Yep.
way my consistency starts. And as soon as I hit that momentum, I don't want to stop.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like people think that, you know, when Local Hero took off and they go, oh my God, there's, you know, $50,000 there and all that kind of stuff. And people went nuts about it.
Yeah.
Monty did the smart thing. He took that and spread it across the rest of the books coming up and fired off 10 other IPs in process.
Absolutely.
So instead of just going and doing something else with it, he immediately reinvested it back into the you know, to build more books. And that was an extremely smart thing to do.
I know
So,
he's happy. I finally got that Blackbird print. I went back
awesome.
and got that add-on because I was sad I
Nice.
couldn't get it at the time. But
Yeah.
I jumped on it today. Or the
Okay.
other day when he sent out the thing. I'm super excited. Man, he is such a talented artist. I can't wait to hang that on my wall.
Yep, he's definitely a force of nature in the business and has been for, you know, 30 years.
Yeah.
And we have that conversation often because people go, well, he's been, you know, doing this for 30 years and he's gone on podcasts and been on podcasts with us before that said he's been at it, but he hasn't been at it as a creator. So that was the turning of a curve, right?
Oh, yeah.
Rounding the corner for him, and is just as wonderful as a writer as he is an artist. So when that was brought out there, now is other people kind of doing the heavy lifting, as he says, and doing some of the artwork on the book, and he's driving the story. So let the creator create, and he's got just a good cast with him. So it's he's got a bunch of good stuff coming out, and I can't talk about all of it, but there's some good stuff coming out, and especially when the whole thing for Midnight Cafe, that's the one he's talking about right now, and when Midnight Cafe comes out, you're gonna see some cool stuff. So
Nice.
make sure you guys take a look out for that. Again, make sure we're going to have everything out there for Wild Oni, and it's going to be in a stage where we can just pull the pin, we perfect, ready to go. And like Mike said, it's just basically for print money at this point.
Yep.
And we'll get it out there. That's always good when that's done because, again, you're not dependent. You're not sitting there biting your nails and pacing like an expected father going, oh, my God, I need another $500 just to finish paying my artist so I can turn around and pay to print it. And then I got to, you know, it's just anxiety. You know, don't put yourself in that position. You know, if you can find other things or find a project to help fund this other project over here. You know, try to help do those things.
Yeah, I already got art prints on the way for testing colors. So I'm testing public or printers to see who I'm going to get all my stuff with. We haven't talked about it yet, but I kind of wanted to test that from observing and watching other creators on social media and other podcasts. One of the biggest things is the tone and the colors when they get the print back. And making the big mistake of just going ahead and ordering a whole run without learning how the printers at that publish or that printer company, you know, how they print your colors. Are they vibrant? Are they dark? Do they bleed together?
Yep.
So
and even the big two make that mistake. There's several books that have color flaw issues in them or cut issues. You know, try to find a first gamut when the words for Uncanny X-Men aren't cut off the top of it. You know, so I mean there's all these things. Yeah. The famous Fantastic Four book that's got the color where there's, you know, different characters are green, you know, there's all kind of stories about that kind of stuff happening. But you're right. It's best to do press checks. It's best to get samples. Any printer worth their salt. You could say, hey, look, can you print me, you know, send me something in your flat, send me something in your gloss, send me something, and you can compare side by side. And again, sometimes it's just going back to your own collection and pulling these indie books that you bought from other people and checking it out and going, I like the feel of this. I like the weight of this paper. I like the way this does. And then you could contact that person and go, hey, who's your printer? Or a lot of times the printing credit's in the book. If the printer's smart, he'll do that. And you'll know, hey, look, you know, such and such printed this book. Call him up. Hey, you've printed this book. What's the paper weight? Did you use a gloss? Is it a flat? You know, and then of course, you know, perfect bound versus staple versus, you look at all that stuff, right? You have to make those decisions up front. Before you move forward, and you got to know your pricing before you just jump out there. I can't tell you how many people just jump out there and set a number out of space. Just, I want this.
Yeah, I have a spreadsheet I keep all my things tracked in.
Have to.
I'm going to for each project. That way, by the end of the project, I'm going to know exactly how much I put into that one. So if I open up another IP or if I continue that project, I know exactly how much money I need.
Yeah.
And it's a first trial run. And that's why we market them as creators and not comic book writers, right? Because as a creator, you're an independent business. You're at that point an independent LLC franchise. You're your own business. And so
don't let anybody tell you that comics isn't a business, because comics is very much a business.
Definitely a business. I mean, and one of the reasons for the print run, not just for like the tone and the texture and all those other things that I'm still learning and picking up on, is you want to understand who you're going to have a better relationship with as far as printing goes, because they'll be your lifeline. So if you have a bad conversation with somebody at that printing office, you might have a really horrible experience with them after that conversation or that confrontation, and that endangers your book, which is your
printers got very dodgy when paper shortages happened. Like, they didn't want to talk about it, like, oh, everything's fine, and they're running out of paper. That's like, again, there was 5 books that pulled over from last year, done, ready to go, ready to do. The Kickstarter was built, sitting there just on idle and Kickstarter, ready to start it, because of fulfillment issues. And that was all because of the paper stuff going on. Like I said, like, the silver linings to that was other things were developed and helped that offering, but it was kind of touch and go there for a second. So if you're dependent on the offering to finish the book, now the book's just stalled for, however many months it's been since this whole thing was announced. The other thing that people need to consider too, when you're crunching all these numbers, are try to see, what stores are in your area, and what store is start building that relationship now before you get the thing even printed. Start talking to them. Hey, look, this is about to come out. How many books can we work with? And start laying those relationships down now. Don't wait till the Kickstarter's going, and then start, like, day one, start running around, because every hour on Kickstarter counts, right? It means something.
Oh, absolutely.
So
$6, another $10, and all that adds up.
Yep. And so to start those things early, and again, just do your homework, which is interesting. I had an interesting call earlier today because some people did their homework on us, right? And I got this call, man, and it was awesome, because he was asking me things that he already knew. Him and his buddy were asking me things that he already knew the answers to. Like, they did the research, and they took we don't have every Kickstarter we've ever done on there, but we've got a lot of them, and we swapped those out for samples. And so I think we have 20 something. I think 26 are what's up there right now. And he looked at all 26, like, in other words, crunched the numbers on how many backers versus how many what the count was, how much per book got, the whole 9 yards was going through it. And at the end of it, he asked me, he said, well, what's one of the benefits of going with inked versus just going it alone? I said, well, there's a couple different things. If you go out alone, Kickstarter is about 66%, funded. With us, it's, 96.4. I said, so we keep track of those numbers. I said, even though I'm an artist, I still at least dive over into the math enough to kind of know what's going on. And he said, okay. He said, well, how much are you upticking books versus people going with you or not going with you? I said, around 30%. He just shook his head. I said, you know that number, don't you? He said, yeah. I said, so what's the number? He said, 34. I said, you did your homework. And he shared the spreadsheet with me. He literally has a spreadsheet of the 26 books that are online. He showed me every book. He did the comparison. He said, yeah, he said, you're outselling. He said 34% over what we did the last few Kickstarters. He said, so it's definitely worth it. So that's what I tell people. We print it right in the book. We're very transparent as to what's, what the possibilities are. And for one of the last offerings we did for the Starlight offering for Travis, again, it was a 30% uptick. And we got Starlight 5 already in production right now. He's sending me over some stuff on it, and we're fixing to get that one, put the can in that one. That should be probably, let's say there's 55 done now. It's probably going to be maybe 57 or 58. So it should be out in the can and floating around probably mid-February is when that was going to be out. And there's another, if I'm looking at the board, there's another 18 books in process. So that means it'll be mid-March, early April will be 75. So you're going to see the road to 75 is going to be something that's going to be out there here shortly, because there's already 73 stacked in the can. So a couple more books and we'll be at the 75th crowdfunding. So
yeah,
we love it, man.
Oh, it's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah, and Mike does an awesome job. at editing books. I mean, I can't say enough about, some of the stuff we've seen. He does such a good job in finessing what needs to be finessed. And, nobody, when you write something, you see what you want to see, right? It's always good to have a second set of eyes because you know what you want to say and you think you're saying it.
Yeah.
But then somebody else reads it and goes, that's not quite, what do you need? What were you looking for right here? Well, I meant this. Well, that's not what you said, so always, that's another important fact. Always get a good editor in your corner. I can't say that enough. People try to go out there without it. And then all of a sudden they find out there's something weird, spin off in their book that doesn't make sense. So that's always a plus,
I think editors are the enemy, but we're not the enemy. We're only there to enhance your vision.
Exactly. Exactly. They're not the police. They're not the, and then, Chuck does a bunch of good editing too, Chuck Panu. So, there's people that are on the team that are just absolutely wonderful at their craft. And that's what's been good about the creator services part. Because when we did a deep dive on what other people wanted as far as services, that's one of the things we pulled out in December was like people wanted more services for inkers, colorists, editors, pencilers, they just, things happen, right? And whoosh, your letterer's wife's having a baby, so he's tied up and that's your book's like on pause and, you got to finish the book or you need an inker. So, you come to us and, Rusty can ink your book for you. I mean, there's all those things because we all took with the experiences of what happened in 2021 and all the stories we heard and all the horror stories we heard from creators and just set that on the table. So I just want to share that with the listening audience because Mike knows because Mike was a part of it. We're like, okay, what worked, what didn't work, what do people need, what do people want, where can we help out the most and fill in some gaps. So I just want to share that out there with everybody because that's a brand new thing. So if you just jump on the website, inkedmarketing.com, ask for one of the guys that explains to you all the different services that are offered now. A lot more services now than in 2021. That's why we went ahead and moved on to Ink Studios, was to be able to offer those extra services and some of the editing out there, which is Mike's services in that. So make sure you guys pick that up and give it a shot. We've had a lot of fun with you. We're going to duck out of here, and so that way we can go check out with things with our wives to make sure we don't get divorced. So we're gonna if you love what you see, make sure you go right here.
For more fun-filled episodes, come visit our website, www.comicradery.com.